Conrad, after a good night's sleep and getting into the sheds and talking about the match with your mates, what did you make of the match last night?
It was a good game. It was obviously we'll get a lot out of it. I thought Argentina were played particularly well. The best I've had them play against us, and they're a good side. They've come on a long way. Even in the obviously 3 or 4 years I've been in the rugby championship. So they played really well, and we sort of hung in there a little bit for the first half, and then I thought we played some really good footy in that second half. We didn't always capitalise on what we created, but we walked off with a win, and I think the pressure they put on us will be beneficial for us in the long run. So we'll be pretty happy with the way the game went.
Yeah, do you think it was sort of, in terms of first game under your belt, just what you guys needed?
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't perfect by any means. And it wasn't always pretty, but it was always going to be tough. I think obviously most of us hadn't played for a long time and hadn't played together since for over a month, and so there was always going to be those issues. And when you combine that with you're playing a quality side, we knew it wasn't always going to go to plan. But the fact that we still were able to build some pressure and put it back on them towards the back end of the game was something we were pretty pleased with, I think.
We're just going to touch on this, but when you had to go to the naughty corner, seeing Skip in a chair, how was that process? And they trying to separate you?
Yeah, it was a bit unusual. It was. It would have been better if we actually had time, but I literally walked in and then they gave him the warm-up, so he left and then warmed up and he was back on. So it would have been, I would have enjoyed a little bit of time sitting next to each other and seeing what panned out. But as it was, he was back on, I think, a minute after. But certainly I did think, as I was walking there, like, man, we're in a bit of trouble now. There's 2 of us, but the boys did well, and I think we only 6-3 was the score while I was in the bin, which I was counting. Obviously, didn't want to let the boys down too much, so I thought they started playing really well. Hopefully not because I wasn't there, but.
Did you get a sense last night, just with the atmosphere? I mean, the biggest Rugby World Cup crowd ever. Just that you're in the thick of it now, and like the World Cup's finally here.
Yeah, even arriving at the ground, walking out. Felt a bit like La Plata. There was that many Argentinian fans, but just everything about it. It was cool. It was I enjoyed the whole game. I thought it was, like I said before, even though it wasn't a perfect game in terms of the way we executed things, I just thought it was it was 2 sides playing, at least trying to play good footy, and and there was obviously it was the start of the World Cup for both of us, and there was a lot of passion, and it made for what I felt was a pretty good game. But it certainly it was nice for the team to have that game under our belt now, and we're underway, and now we can just focus on 3 or 4 more games and getting through to this knockout stage.
Yeah, what are the key things, mate, this week with such a short turnaround before Namibia in terms of the team getting ready for that?
Yeah, so I think we're only going to train once. So particularly the guys that played, it's going to be a lot of recovery and getting the bodies right. And then we've had a long time together, so hopefully a lot of the preparation we put in towards the Argentinian game can flow through to this game. And then obviously the combinations that do change, we'll have a light run together, and then we'll back ourselves to have done enough with all that to play another game of footy and hopefully sort of lift the performance a little bit.
I mean, even with 10 minutes off, you still got the second highest amount of yardage metres gained. That must have felt really good, mate.
I wasn't aware of that fact, but it certainly it didn't feel like I'd only played 70 minutes as opposed to 80. I was pretty shattered at the end of that game, even with about 5 to go. There was one phase, I'm sure, that went for 5 minutes itself. But that's what I mean. I enjoy those games, afternoon kickoffs. It's what I love. So, and the opposition wanted to play, so that I felt made for a good game, and you know, when I'm blowing hard, it means I've enjoyed myself. So yeah, well, it was a nice start to the competition anyway.
Thanks, mate.
Too easy.
Great work.